The wonders of Adobe Photoshop.
What white balance should one choose when photographing the night sky, the Milky Way? Well, I'm not sure there is a right one, but having a reason for the one you select probably makes it the right choice for you. In the past, I've used Kelvin temperatures that varied between about 3,800 and 4,200 because they made the overall sky look acceptable. Now I choose daylight white balance because it's referenced to sunlight. That means stars that are naturally warmer or cooler retain those subtle color differences instead of being neutralized by the camera's white balance. To me, those star colors are part of what gives the night sky its character. The trade-off is that the darker areas of the sky usually need a little attention during raw processing to remove a greenish cast. This image of hoodoos in Big Bend National Park is a composite of a dusk foreground with a Milky Way captured in an open area later in the night. Let's go ahead and take a look at that Milky Way capture. Okay, this image here was taken with daylight white balance, and we can see that there's just a bit of a green haze or hue, especially down into the shadows. That's what we need to deal with. So we'll take it into Camera Raw. And what we'll do to deal with this green, it's the green basically of the shadows, not of the bright stars. We'll go ahead and choose the Curves tab, and we're going to work on the blue channel. We're going to put a bunch of locked points along here, so when we make adjustments to these pixels, we're not impacting these pixels right here, which would be up here, these pixels along here, the stars, if you will. So we'll go ahead and put a line of locked points on here so that when we click down here now and make an adjustment, I'm going to use the upward arrow key on the keyboard to move that point up just a little bit. We're not making adjustments up on the highlights. We're only adjusting down in the shadows. While I'm going to pause pushing the upward arrow for a minute, and let's take a look at this curve here. The blue line is not meeting up. It's being held back right here, which tells me that this point right here probably needs to be removed. So we're going to go ahead and select it, then press delete on the keyboard. And it looks like we still didn't get quite far enough up. So I'm going to select the next line up, or dot up, pardon me, the next point up, and press delete on the keyboard. And actually, I think in this case, we're going to take the final one. There we go. That looks, we're getting about the similar curve as the green. The idea here is, in order to move the green out, we need to basically add a bit more of the blue and possibly red channels back in. Typically, it's just the blue channel, more commonly the blue channel, but in this case, I might do a little red. Okay, so now the lines more or less line up pretty similarly. I'm going to take the output and back it down just a couple of points. It looked a little too far when I looked at the actual image. So now we'll go ahead and work on the red channel. So we'll click on the red channel, and then we're going to put the locking points on. We're going to do that by simply clicking on here. I noticed that I didn't quite line these up, so I'll use the upward and downward keys to zero them out, so we're not making any adjustments up here in the highlights. I'm going to put one right about here. Hey, I did that one steadily. I'm going to put one about right here. I've got to nudge that up with the upward arrow key. I'll put one about right here. Nudge that down with the downward arrow key. I'll put a one right about here. Oops, got to nudge that one up a bit. I'll also place one here and nudge that down one with the downward arrow key, and one right about there. Hey, got that one right on. Now this, I don't want to have to make these points every time I want to do this. So I'm going to save this point curve as the red locked line. No, we're going to say red locked highlight. red locked highlights. We're locking the highlights. I think that makes more sense. Click on save. Now, anytime we want to do that, we simply click down on here, choose red locked highlights, and then we'll automatically have all these points put on the line. So now I'll put the point that I actually want to move in order to make an adjustment, and I'll click that, I'll put it about right there. I'm going to watch up here and just nudge a little bit. We're not going to get much out of this, just a couple of points, I imagine. Let's just go ahead and push the upward arrow. You know, I think that's it. We didn't do much in the way of changes there, just a little bit, just to sort of line them all a little closer. So the outputs are about the same, which just makes it lose that green glow. Let's turn the view or toggle the visibility of this adjustment from this particular tab, the curves tab, off. So I'll click and hold that down. There it was before with our adjustments. There it is, and that looks a lot more natural. That looks like the way we expect to see the Milky Way. So as you can see, this is a very small adjustment, but it makes a noticeable difference in the overall appearance of the night sky. The stars retain their natural color, while the background sky becomes clearer, cleaner, and more neutral. If you found this helpful, you'll find more practical processing techniques here on the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Ooh, that was interesting.